Hi guys. So we're just gonna give it a minute to let some people on in here, and I'm just gonna brighten up my camera here. How's everybody doing today? I actually made it back on time. I was here 20 minutes before 10, so I was able to get on here right on time to do my Facebook Live. So I'm just gonna let some people just pop in here. I know it takes a little bit before the notifications kick on and stuff. I'm just gonna straighten you guys out. Hopefully I can, there we go. So we're gonna make a pretty cute card today. It's using the stamp set Painted Harvest. It's a oldie but a goodie. It was released last year for the holiday catalog, and I just fell in love with it. It's such a awesome stamp set. It's got the sunflowers. Sunflowers are my favorite. I love the sunflowers. So this set here has all kinds of, you've got your leaf. There's also a leaf punch that goes along with this set. So it's a great little set to have. As you can see, mine is well loved. It's just stained, and that's okay. I use this. I can't even count how many times I've used this, but there are several different. It's a two-step stamp set to where you're stamping one layer and then you're stamping the next layer on top of that. And it does not stamp crisp, I guess. It's supposed to look like a watercolor stamp, and they did a great job with it. And when you use it on watercolor paper, it is so pretty. It just turns out so nice. So I'm just gonna give it another couple of seconds or so, and we'll see if anybody pops on. Right now, nobody has popped on yet. So I do also want to tell you guys, I am doing a giveaway every Facebook Live. Anybody who shares my video will be placed in the drawing to win a little something from me. And at the beginning of every Facebook Live I will announce who the winner is. Last week, there was no winner because it wasn't shared. So if you would have just shared it, you would have automatically won. So if you guys can just share this video with your family and friends, that would be great. I would appreciate it. This is something new that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And you can always catch it later because I will obviously upload it, and then you can make this card with me. Mostly, you know, I'll be doing cards, or I might do a 3D project. I'm not quite sure. This week I'm doing a card, and last week I did a card. But there's a couple of 3D projects that I have in mind that I'd like to, once I get the hang of my new schedule, I'd like to incorporate them in because they're pretty fun to do. I like doing 3D stuff. So I guess I'm going to just go ahead and get started here. I'm not sure where everybody is, so we will go ahead and just get started. So for this, there's all kinds of different papers we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing some stamping. Like I said, we're going to be stamping with the Painted Harvest. I am also going to use the leaf stamp here and the leaf punch. So, and I am happy to see that my video is not sideways, so I'm glad I figured that one out. So we're going to go ahead and stamp with this. We're going to be using a bunch of colors today, a bunch of ink pads, just because the stamp requires different colors. So these are our colors we'll be using today. We're going to do the Mint Macaroon, Coastal Cabana, the Blueberry Bushel, Basic Gray, Gray Granite, and then the Memento inks. So these are the colors you're going to need to do this card. If you don't have these colors, obviously you can, you know, make it, just match it. The colors are coordinating with the cardstock I'm using, so you can color coordinate with whatever cardstock and inks you have. So we're going to use, for our cards, for our cardstock, we're going to need your Coastal Cabana. This is going to be the A2 size, so it is 5.5 by 8.5, fold at 4 1/4. So that's going to be your card base. Then you also will need, I just dropped a piece of my cardstock here. You're also going to need a piece of basic black. This one here is measured at 5 1/4 by 4. And I will leave all these measurements in the video link description so you can follow along later if you want. This one here is the Blueberry Bushel. This one is measured at 5 by 3 3/4. So, and then I ran this through the Big Shot with the dynamic folder here, the basket weave folder. So you just want to go ahead and run that through. I did not spritz it with water. They say you can spritz it with water. I've spritzed it with water, and it does give it a different look when you run it through spritzed with water compared to you know, not being spritzed. Some people do have trouble with it ripping the cardstock. I've never had trouble with that. I know when I use different cardstock that is not Stampin' Up, the thinner stuff, it does rip, but I haven't had any issues running this through with any Stampin' Up cardstock. So this is the folder, and they're thicker. They're the dynamic textured, and with these you would just use your Big Shot platform plate. You would put down your folder, and then you would just use a regular plate on top and run it through that way because they're so thick, and they leave such a great impression. It's really raised up. You guys can see that. It's such a good texture on there. So you're also going to need a piece of Whisper White and a piece of basic black. Now, the Whisper White, you can do this. You can stamp first and then cut the circle out. To save time, I cut the circle out. I use the 5th smallest layering circle framelit for the Whisper White. So I always count from the smallest, so it's the 5th. And then this is the stitch shape framelits, the circle, and this one is the 3rd smallest stitch shape, or it's the 2nd largest, however you want to call it. So you're going to need that. And then there is one piece of Coastal Cabana that you're going to need. This is measured at 2 by I think it's 1.5. So it's 2 by 1.5. This is going to be for our sentiment. So let's go ahead and start with our stamping. I'm using the Stamparatus to do my stamping. We're going to stamp out the white on your white cardstock. So I just find with this type of stamp, it's easier to use the Stamparatus because I want to get a darker impression. So that's why I'm using the Stamparatus. So I'm just going to pull my Stamparatus out, and I will leave the foam pad in here because it's a photopolymer stamp. So if you're using a clear stamp, the rubber on the clear stamp, you won't need your rubber mat. So I'm just going to put this in here. Now I'm not going to be able to put the magnet down on here because I might just do a little tip here, just a little bit, but I'm not going to be able to put the magnet down. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it right in the corner. This way, if it moves, I can just slide it right back in the corner. If you just have your piece of Whisper White, you don't have to worry about that. You put your magnet down, and then you can cut it out with your circle framelit. But because I already cut it out, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave my magnet on. With this stamp set, you'll notice that there are little arrows. That's to help you line up the stamp set correctly. So what I did was I just took a black magic marker, permanent one, and I just put a little black spot on the edge of each of these stamps where that arrow is pointing. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See, there's the arrow, the little arrow right there, and then I just put like a little black piece. I know it's hard to see. Just a little mark, just so I know when I stamp this, I'm gonna line up those marks each time. So the first stamp we're gonna do is the base stamp. So it's gonna be the larger sunflower, and we're gonna stamp that in the lighter color. So it's gonna be stamped out in your Coastal Cabana. So I'll just line this up on this circle, layering circle here. And let's see, I might not be able to do it right in the corner. Just like that. And then I'm gonna find my end that has the black magic marker on there, which I believe it's right there. It's right here. So I'm gonna make sure I line that up towards the top. So when I put my next stamp on, I'll put the black magic marker up that way. So I don't know if this is gonna work out too well because I don't have a magnet holding it down. I didn't think this out before I did this live, but I wanted to save time. I probably should have. You know what I'm gonna do, guys? I'm just going to, because this isn't gonna work. That's why you love the lives. Let's see, I'm just gonna take a piece of Whisper White and I'll do the Big Shot cut after I stamp it out here. So bear with me, guys. Just gonna cut a piece of Whisper White here. Perfect. Okay, this will work out much better. So now I can just put my magnet on there and hold this piece of paper. Because the other way, the paper would have slid and it wouldn't have worked out well. So I'm still going to put my my mark up towards the top here, and then I'm going to close my plate. Now you could put your plate on the side or up at the top, whichever way you want to, and then I'm just going to pick that stamp up. So now I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana and we're just going to ink up that. Now don't worry about that, it's not going to get on your paper. You're going to see when you ink up this stamp, there's a spot in here that it looks like hasn't been inked up, and it's not going to stamp out really well there. Again, it's the design of the stamp. That's how it's meant to be. So I'm just going to press this down and I'm going to restamp it. I don't like that image, but again, that's the way the stamp is. I want mine a little darker. That's just me. And this is what's great about the Stamparatus, is you can restamp, restamp, restamp as many times as you want, and it's going to be perfect every time. So I think I'm going to just do it one more time. With this card, I do like the bottom layer a little darker. So, all right. So I like that. So we're going to go ahead and take that stamp off. This is the chamois available through Stampin' Up. All you do is you run water over it. It's not going to come looking like this to you guys. It's all purple and clean, but once you get the ink on it, the ink stains it, which is not a problem at all. The ink does not come off on your hands. Once you wipe it and it's on there, it does not come off on your hands. And all you do is add water to it. When I'm done stamping, I'll just take and just put some water, rinse it out in the sink, squeeze it a little bit, get some of that ink out, and then you're good to go for next time. But like, I won't get ink on my hands because I just used it on here. So, and it's thick too. They have some out. Before this became available, I used the absorber. It was in Walmart and it was recommended from several different people and it worked good, but there wasn't anything available for this yet. And the absorber is thinner and it does leave ink on your hands. I did find that it left ink. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put my stamp away, and then we're going to pick up the second portion of that stamp, and we're going to stamp that out in the Blueberry Bushel. Now with this, like I said, there's your tip here. Now you know that you put your tip up at the top. So I'm just going to line this up, and it should line up pretty well. It's not going to line up perfectly. There's going to be pieces off of it, but you can see by the inside here that it'll line up pretty well. And I've stamped this without lining it up, and it stamps out fine. You might have a little bit more white in the center, but it's not a huge deal to not line up that stamp. So now we're just going to take the Blueberry Bushel ink, and I'm still getting used to opening up these new ink pads. The other ink pads flipped open, and I have a mixture of old and new, so I just need to go and get all the new ones because I keep confusing myself. So we're going to go ahead and ink this up. Again, don't worry about that. That's not going to get on your paper. So we'll see what that does. Ooh, I like that. That's real pretty. I'm going to stamp it one more time. I love these two colors together. I'm going to try to press a little harder over here. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that's pretty. That's really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and just wipe this off with your chamois. If you don't have a chamois, you could always just use water and paper towel, but I mean, you have to use quite a bit of paper towels, and it gets annoying after a while. So the chamois, I think, is only $8, I think it is. Let me see, I think I have it up here. Yeah, it's only $8 for the chamois, and you don't have to buy, like I said, you can use it. I don't know, I've had this since it came out, so I don't know how long I've had it, but I just stuck my hand in the ink pad over here. Great. Now I got ink all over me. That's wonderful. That's part of stamping, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the center. We're going to stamp that out in gray, gray granite. We're going to stamp that. And again, the center also has that little arrow there, and I did put a mark on there, but it's hard to see. So I'm going to line up that up towards the top, and then I'm going to pick up that. So again, we're going to stamp that with gray granite. Perfect. And then the last stamp to this flower will be the little dots that are in here. You can see there's little dots. I'm just going to eyeball this right in the center here, right where it's kind of a little lighter. I'm going to pick that up. And then I'm just going to use basic gray for that. Just like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out of my Big Shot. And we'll be using this again in a minute. All right. Big Shot is off to the side here, so I'm just going to cut this out. Isn't that just so pretty? I love that. So, let's see. Do you guys have any questions for me or anything right now? Doesn't look it. So, we're going to go ahead and move on here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put away my dies here. So we're going to take this and we're going to glue it to the black stitched shape framelit circle, or the stitch shape framelit circle that we cut out earlier. And again, this is just basic black. So I'm going to use some snail adhesive just to anchor that down. It's a perfect day for crafting here in upstate, well, central New York. It's rainy and it's supposed to rain all day and it's cold and it's just a typical fall day out there. So we're gonna set this guy aside. He's all done until we put him on the base of our card. We're going to take some Mint Macaroon paper, which I forgot to tell you guys we needed. I'm sorry. We're gonna just a scrap piece. You're gonna stamp out a couple of your leaves here. This guy here. I'm just stamping this. I'm not gonna do the double stamp on this. So I'm just gonna take this out and I'm just going to use a block. I don't need the Stamparatus for this. And with your punch, when you put your punch in, you're going to punch it, the leaves this way. So I'm going to stamp it this way along the edge of my paper so it'll be easier for me to punch. And I'm going to use Mint Macaroon on top of the Mint Macaroon cardstock. So you're just going to need 3 of these stamped out. Oh, I made a step. I think I stamped that too close. Let me flip her over. Trying to save paper. There you go. So you're going to take the leaf punch and we're just going to punch these out. So I'll turn it upside down so I can line up the leaf in the punch. And then once you have it lined up, you're just going to punch it right out. I always have the hardest time lining these up. I try to get them perfect, but as long as you're fairly close, it's not going to look bad. So there you go, 3 of those. So those we're going to set aside, and then we're going to do our last bit of stamping before we start to assemble the card. So remember that little piece I told you we needed, the 2 by 1.5? We're going to stamp on that, and I'm not going to use the Stamparatus on this. I'm just going to stamp it out. You could take a strip of paper. I know I lied. I said I was going to use the Stamparatus again, but I'm not. The Stamparatus, if you use the Stamparatus with this scrap piece of paper, you can stamp it out a couple of times and get a nice dark image. But I'm looking for my stamp set here. But I didn't think it out. I cut it ahead of time. So it's not going to, I'm not going to be able to put it in the Stamparatus and double stamp it because I don't have enough room there for the magnet. Maybe I do. I don't think I do I? Well, you know what, guys? Let me try that. Let's see what we do. Let's see. I might be able to put the magnets on each end there. It is easier if you just have a scrap piece of paper and do this. But I'm going to line my stamp up. You know what? I think I can do this. So this fits on here nicely. It's pretty perfect. And you want to be careful with your magnets not to get them too close to each other, because you'll see I have the duct tape on them. I have Mickey Mouse duct tape that I found with a little tab on them. They will shatter, and they will shatter pretty good. So you want to keep them away from each other as far as distance wise. You don't want to just slap them together here. I think this will work. I can hold both of those corners down. That's perfect. So you're just going to want to make sure you got this lined up and it's not crooked. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp this. So if you don't have the stamparatus, you would, use a block. But what I like, again, about the stamparatus is if you stamp it the first time and you missed part of the ink on there, or it's just not dark enough, you can go over it several times. So, see what happened there? And I don't know if it's because of the magnets or I didn't press, but that's terrible. But with the stamparatus, it's going to stamp down again, right in the same area. And I think it might be those magnets. So I'm going to try pressing a little firmer. See, so I'm going to stamp it one more time, I think. And I'm going to remove that bottom magnet. I'm just going to move it. I'm going to hold this one. I'm going to move it so it'll stamp out a little better down there. Perfect. And it would have been easier if the paper was longer and then I cut it afterwards, just because you could put your magnets further away so that they're not in the way of your stamping. So I'm just going to clean this off. And then we're going to go ahead and start to assemble our card. Now I took with this, I took the Blueberry Bushel marker, the paintbrush side, and all I did was just go along the edge just to kind of give it that little pop of color. And it'll stand out a little bit better on your card front when you do this. You could do it in black too. Just a subtle little amount just to pop it up. It just stands out. I always like doing that trick. So now we're just gonna take the base of our card and we're going to fold it. And I'm gonna take my bone folder, just give it that good crisp crease. Then you're gonna take the basic black, snail adhesive, fast fuse, whatever kind of adhesive you want to use, and I'm just going to anchor that down to the front, and that'll give it a nice little frame. You'll have your 1/4-inch frame around it. And then the basket, I'm going to use fast fuse on this. Use some kind of stronger adhesive. Your snail adhesive will stick, but with the texture, it doesn't like to stay, just because there's so many grooves and stuff in there. So I'm using snail adhesive or fast fuse, and you can use any kind of stronger adhesive that you have. And this is just going to frame up around your basic black, another 1/4 inch. So aren't those colors just so pretty together? So then I'm going to take on the back of here, and I'm going to, I'll use snail for this for right now, but then I'm going to use fast fuse. So I've got the adhesive, and I'm going to line my flowers up right here, or my leaves I should say. So I'm just going to take them and kind of place them wherever I want them, I'm just going to stick this one out a little, and then this one down here. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm going to take some fast fuse, and I don't know why I didn't do the fast fuse first. I don't understand what I did there. Why did I do snail adhesive and then fast fuse? I don't know. So put your fast fuse down first, and then we're just going to put this right in the bottom right hand corner, right about there. And then your beautiful sunflower you stamped out, it's going to go up here in this corner, just like this. So I'm going to use, again, fast fuse. I don't know, I haven't checked the clearance rack this morning. I'm not sure if the refills of the fast fuse are still available on there. They were selling them at $4 off. They were like, I think $3.50 for the fast fuse refills, because Stampin' Up! No longer is selling fast fuse, but they had a bunch in their warehouse, and they threw them on the clearance rack. So again, I'm terrible. I should have checked the clearance rack this morning, but I did not. I don't know if they're still on there. So we're going to finish off this card. These are the glitter enamel dots, and we're going to use the Coastal Cabana color here. We're going to do a big, medium, small, and then not the, I didn't use the smallest. So I'm going to take my paper piercer tool and just use that here. I like this tool. I use this a lot. It helps you just pick up your dot. And then I just went at an angle down with the dots. I just felt that corner was a little bare and it needed something. So that's it to that card. Isn't that card pretty? I love that card. I love all the cards I make. The current card I make is my favorite, and then until I move on to the next one. So, but I shouldn't say I love all the cards I make. There are some cards that I don't like, and then of course I don't show you guys, and I have to revamp my whole design because something just throws me off about the card. But there's that card. All the measurements and all the materials that I use will be in the link of the video. I will go ahead and put that in there. The special I'm running till the end of September is if you spend $50 in my store, then you will get a sample pack of the Host-only paper that's available right now. The Host-only paper, you can get a 12 by 12 pack of it for free when you host a party of $250 or more. You don't have to actually host a party. You could go in and spend $250 and you'll get your own paper. But if you wanted to split it up and get some friends together, put in an order to total $250 and you're the host, then you can get that paper too. And like I said, I am giving away a free sample of that to anybody who spends $50 in my shop. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please share this video. You will be in the running for a prize. Like I said last week, nobody shared. So if you were the only one who shared, you would have won the prize. All right, guys. Well, I will be here next week again live, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, every Tuesday morning. So thank you guys for watching.